holy Santa Claus.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
It is day 3 of the winter meetings, and I am live with Patrick Henessy to talk about John Heyman and the downfall of Western journalism. We all had a heart attack. We thought Judge had left us, but as of right now, he's still a free agent. This is NYY Recaps. Welcome back, everybody. How's it going? I am here live with Pat Henessy. Pat, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Derek. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. You've seen Pat on Unhinged Yankees. He's a co-host of the Yankees Avenue show. Also seen him on Better, hanging out with the Paul brothers. I mean, this guy does it all these days. So, Pat, I want to get right to it. People are here because we're all going through a lot of anxiety over this Aaron Judge situation. Where were you when you heard or found out about the John Heyman tweet that went around the world? Heard around the world. All right.
So breaking it down in like very brief terms here. So you remember like my Unhinged guys, right? We got like Jalen, Sean, Parra. We all have like a big group chat where it's kind of just like 24/7 banter about like Yankee stuff, sending tweets 24/7, whatever. So I don't even know who sent it, but someone sent the tweet like John Heyman's original tweet, like, oh, Aaron Judge appears to be going to the Giants, whatever it was. Bro, I looked at my phone, and no joke, I had my hand on my head for probably a good, like, minute. I was like, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. Because, like, I would say 20 minutes before, we got, like, that tweet that came out from, I think, iTalk Studios or something.
Yes.
Where he was like, Judge appears to be going to the Giants, like 8 years, $50 million a year, something stupid like that. I was like, yo, there's no way, right? Like, there's no way this dude is going to be the one to break it. And then we got the Heyman tweet 30 minutes later. I went through such a whirlwind of emotions. At first, I was kind of upset, and then I went through like my F Judge phase, and I took to Twitter with it. I was like, yo, screw Aaron Judge. Never liked him anyway. Happy he's gone. And I kind of like came to terms with it, and I got myself like super excited for what the Yankees could possibly do now. And then he retracts it. And now I'm kind of like in this weird point where it's like mentally, I feel like I've come to terms with the fact, like if Judge leaves, because I've kind of already coped with it. But also at the same time, if he comes back now, I'll feel weird because I convinced myself in my head that we don't need him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was crazy. So it was a 7-minute period, between the original tweet and when he retracted it. And I was sitting down to have some tacos with the wife. Tonight's Taco Tuesday. And I got the alert on my watch from Heyman, said, looks like Judge is headed to the Giants, arson Judge or whatever. So it looked like it was written in a hurry, like he was trying to beat whoever. And I started thinking, okay, well, I got to put down my tacos and go stream. But true story, I had just finished watching this documentary about Walter Cronkite reporting on the JFK assassination. It's called 1 p.m. And as you can imagine, there were tons of people reporting that JFK had died. I mean, his head exploded in the middle of the street. And they had a ton of firsthand sources. They had 2 priests. They had the director of the hospital. They had a Secret Service agent. But because it was such an enormous story, he wanted official word from the White House media people before he would tell the nation what happened to Kennedy. And so I sat there staring at my phone. I had thought about the iTalk Studios guy, but sometimes I feel like, you can't really believe, frankly, other content creators, because people are trying to beat each other and they'll gamble their reputation. I remember during the Harper Machado thing, same thing happened. And so I was sitting there waiting for Passan. And my goal was, if I see it from Passan or from Curry, I'll head on up and I'll do the live stream. I've got a live stream package ready to go if he leaves and if he resigns. But the tweet never came. And then 7 minutes later, he retracted it. And it was like, again, it was like mixed emotions. I was sitting there grabbing my arm, having a heart attack. I'm looking up WebMD, like, what are the signs of a cardiac arrest? Oh, it was tough.
literally, but it was such a weird feeling because it's like you don't know how to cope with it, right? It's like you're being told that Judge is gone, but it's also like you kind of want like additional confirmation, but you still have to react in the moment. Like me, for example, I came right upstairs, I made my bed, I was like, yo, it's recording time, it's live stream time. Haven't streamed in like 2 months, but now it's time for it. And I don't know, like now I'm kind of just in that weird period where it's like, how much longer do we have to like sit with these emotions like currently bottled up? Because now it's like everyone's like sort of a ticking time bomb in either direction. It's like, yo, we're either going to be like really happy or really sad, but we don't know when it's going to happen. And it could literally be like 2 months from now, or it could be 2 minutes from now. You know what I mean? I think that's the part that like I'm struggling with right now.
Not so family fun vision says, why are you saying passing like that? So it's Jeff. Sometimes I say Passan, and sometimes
I
I
say
say
passing.
Yeah, it's passing. I think it's
Passan
passing.
sounds too eloquent, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes I put the emphasis on the wrong syllables when I read words. I don't know.
That's good, I like that.
Somebody on here one time called me dyslexic, and I think sometimes maybe I am, because all my letters to Santa as a kid came back like from Satan. So letters to
I
Santa.
get it. No, I get it. No, I get it. I get it. Yeah. It was a little dark at first, but now I understand. Is that the Taco Bell thing?
There was a Taco Tuesday.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, I like it. Big fan.
Oh man. Edwin NG says 10 years, 400 million to get the deal done. Do you think it goes? Do you think the Yankees would even go that high? It sounds like he's got what, 9 years for 360. That's $40 million a year already on the table. So it would take like an additional year at 40 million.
All right. Let's just be honest with each other, right? It's not my money, right? So I don't necessarily care too much. However, it will matter because it'll prevent the Yankees from doing other things. But the way I look at it is like, yo, if the Yankees are spending 360 or if they're spending 400, they're still going to treat the rest of the offseason the same way. So if you have to give them 400 to get the deal done, like, sure, I'd probably think that's an overpay. But I guess I'd do it. I don't know, Derek. I'm in a weird spot right now. Like, do I want Aaron Judge on the Yankees next year? I don't know, because I went through this whole rant with Dan the other day on the Yankees Avenue show, and I kind of like started convincing myself that life would be so much more fun, especially over these next couple months, if Aaron Judge is not a New York Yankee. Like, Derek, take a second to think about it. Like, think about all the things that would happen if Aaron Judge signed elsewhere.
I hear you. They would definitely have to pivot.
Reaction, like. What happens afterwards, right? Like, who do the Yankees go after? Do they go all out or do they do nothing? And how would people react either way? Also, opening day, bro, I would set like an alarm clock now, a countdown clock now for opening day. Aaron Judge in a Giants uniform returning to Yankee Stadium. It would just be fun.
Jeff Passan tweeting right now. Right-hander Taijuan Walker and the Philadelphia Phillies in agreement on a contract. Every time that
he hit me with a bomb, bro.
Dude, every time that he tweets, I get my heart like seizes up. Oh man. So Jersey Joe says, do you think Cashman has the power to give Judge any amount? It sounds to me like Hal told Cashman to sit this one out. All I've heard is that Hal is doing this himself. And when you're talking numbers like 400 million, you kind of got to go through the owner to do that, right? I think that it's probably a conference call with Cashman and Hal on the call, and they have a little meeting before the call and discuss strategy, and then Hal takes over. That's kind of what I think is happening. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Cashman might have like free. I mean, obviously, anything that he offers Judge would have to be like ran through Hal first. But I think that he might have like blank check territory here. Like, this might be one of the only occasions. I would probably say Garrett Cole might have been the same case where Hal might have given Cash permission, been like, yo, any amount of money that it takes, just get the job done.
Yeah, maybe. I've been saying all along that it's a business decision. Like, it's a really bad reflection on the Yankees brand if Aaron Judge leaves.
Yeah.
And I get it. You know, some guys just want to go play for their hometown team. A lot of times that can be a smokescreen, though, for just trying to drive up the price, you know, and part of me is hoping that that's what's happening, that he's just playing the most incredible poker hand. You know, if I were Aaron Judge and I was going to get the money that he's getting, I would keep all my decisions close to my vest as well. I think that he's just kind of, I don't buy it that he's made his decision, right? I mean, if he made his decision, we would know it. We would know it. I think he's maybe just leaking some of these rumors out there to get the Yankees in panic mode, to get that best offer out of him.
Yeah, but also at the same time, it's like, yo, I'm putting myself in Aaron Judge's shoes, right? Like, do you really think that he doesn't know where he wants to go? Like, I truly think that if I'm Aaron Judge, he knows where he wants to be playing, at least for the next 10 years, right? Like, he has at least a decision that he's leaning most towards, too. Because I know, like, for myself, it's like, yo, let's say someone asks you, yo, do you want Chick-fil-A or do you want to go to Applebee's for dinner? Like, you know in your heart what you really want to do, no? And this is a decision that I'd assume he's probably been plotting for a very long time at this point. So I think the inverse. I think that Aaron Judge definitely knows where he wants to go, but I think that he's playing either one of the two teams right now just to kind of build up that money a little bit higher.
Yeah, I can see that, but just to rebut one of your points, my wife never knows where she wants to go when I say what restaurant you want to go. Where you want to go? What do you want to have for dinner? Oh, I don't know. I don't care. And then when I pick something, it's like, oh, you want to go there? It's like, you just
What about
said
you
didn't care.
though?
What's that?
What about you though?
Oh, I mean, I typically eat the same thing. I'm one of those people that eats the same thing at every restaurant I go to. Like, I'll have like the
What is it?
spaghetti and meatballs and like a Coke. I guess just or a steak. Like if they don't have, it's just how I am.
So if you're going to like Applebee's, you're getting spaghetti and meatballs?
I'm probably getting the steak at Applebee's. Probably get the
Okay.
New York strip. Like depends on the place, but we mostly go to like Italian type places. That's what
Oh,
we eat. But,
yeah.
and that guy from New York says, Crapplebee's.
Yeah, Applebee's isn't great. It's not great food.
I mean, it's American fare. I got no complaints about Applebee's. By the way, this podcast brought to you by Applebee's.
Can you imagine, bro? That would be no, like in all seriousness, that would be the best ad placement ever. Like,
It would
the
be
most natural ever, but whatever.
Do you think they're going to re-sign Benintendi, or do you want to see him trying to go in a different direction?
Like I'd be cool with it. It's not one of those things that really like turns the needle for me. Like it would really take a lot this offseason for me to really be like, hell yeah. Like I'm really satisfied with how things turned out. Like let's say the Yankees go out and they kind of bring back Judge, they bring back Benintendi, and they sign Carlos Rodon. I'm not viewing that as like a successful offseason in my eyes. Like they'd have to do something really out there, really like Carlos Correa, bro. I've been obsessed with Carlos Correa probably for like the last year or so. Like even last offseason, I was obsessed with Correa. But last night, I took the time to kind of right before I went to sleep, I was on YouTube. I was looking up like Carlos Correa's like career highlights. Bang, walk-off home run against J Happ in the 2019 ALCS. That popped up. I need Carlos Correa in my life. And I think he would be one of the few that would really like turn the needle for me.
I'm not a big Carlos Correa guy.
Okay,
I
I'll
don't
just
think they're
leave.
going to go out and spend on a shortstop. I mean, considering they got these prospects up the middle. Now, if you want to sign Correa to play third base, that I could get behind. If you were going to sign a big-time infielder, though, I think you would have given the money to Trey Turner just because he's a better player, right? I just don't see him spending. I would like to see them make some trades, maybe unload some contracts, see if they can get rid of Donaldson, see if they can get rid of Hicks. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I want to see them, have an opportunity to, give some young players a shot.
What about Brian Reynolds?
Oh, yeah, Brian Reynolds. Yeah, let's talk about Brian Reynolds.
Yeah. Who would you give up for him?
I think so my issue is they're going to ask for Dominguez and Volpe, right? They're going to, but that's to me, we've been waiting on those guys for so long. They're so close. They're right on the precipice. Dominguez had a really good year. He had a monster series. I wouldn't deal him. I wouldn't deal Volpe just because he's right on the precipice. Peraza already broke through. I would keep him. Other than that, I think I'm pretty open. You know what I mean? Like we gave up already most of our pitching prospects for Frankie Montas, right? I talked about this with Pete on my show yesterday. One opportunity that the Yankees could look into is to trade Glaber and see if you can get some prospects back and then use those prospects as addition to your prospects, like a three-way trade essentially to go get Brian Reynolds.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only problem is like we don't really know what Glaber's value is at this point, right? Like from what we've heard, it's not anywhere near what it was a couple of years ago. But I think if it came down to it, this people are gonna be pissed off in the chat, but I don't really care. I'd give up Dominguez and Peraza. I really would. Peraza, like he's not a guy who I see as having like a long-term future in the Yankees infield. You might think otherwise, but I don't see it. And Dominguez, I mean, that's a tough one to part ways with, just because I mean his potential is probably one of the highest in the entire Yankees farm system. But the way I view it is like any day of the week, I'm trading a prospect with potential for a sure MLB talent, right? Like we'd be very, very happy if Dominguez turns into a Brian Reynolds, right? So it's like, why not just get that sure thing now in a window where you're trying to compete? But I'd be happy either way, I guess.
Well, I mean, just seeing the player that Brian Reynolds is now, I mean, he's pretty good. He had a 2.9 B WAR, which is, it sounds pretty good, but that's less than IKF, right? And the way I look at it, I wouldn't trade Dominguez and Volpe for somebody who gave me IKF level value. I would want somebody who gave me, like a good 6 WAR at least for those two.
Why was his WAR so low?
I don't know. It's maybe it's
because that's
defense.
weird to me.
That is weird. It was a little bit higher on Fangraphs. I think it was like 4 roughly. It's just the weird disparity has got me on edge. I think, but when I look at Dominguez, when I look at Peraza, I see guys who have combination of talents that, you don't get a lot in younger players. They can both steal a ton of bags, and you've got the bigger bases now. You're going to see a lot more speed out of these guys. The switch hitting ability for Dominguez is something that the Yankees just don't have a lot of.
Where do you play Peraza, though?
Peraza's my shortstop. I would play Peraza at shortstop. I think he's a fantastic defensive player, just from what I saw last year. Volpe, to me, profiles as a second baseman. I look at Volpe, and I see Dustin Pedroia. They're the same body type. Brett Boone, another similar body type. Short and stocky and strong, power and speed, solid defense, hard-nosed players. I don't think Volpe has the arm for shortstop compared to Peraza. He does have a quick release, but just being shorter, his stride is going to be shorter, so he's not going to have quite the range unless he's faster, but I don't see him as being that much faster than Peraza. So, the way it shakes out for me is Peraza at short, Volpe at second. Third base is wide open for, I would love to see them sign somebody like a Correa to play third base, or, go with youth with Oswaldo Cabrera at third base.
I love Correa, bro. I think it's like the edge. I think it's like the villain factor of it. Like, I don't know. I need him in the Bronx, but we'll see.
Let's see. Dr. Hitskins also says Volpe has played third. Yeah, I mean, he also projects as kind of a Bregman type body type. I mean, you look at just the smaller type of guys. Sure. Random Kid says he would trade the entire farm system except Volpe and Dominguez. And I pretty much agree. All right, let's see. Sorry, I got something in my throat here. THT says Reynolds is a terrible defender. I think we should take a look at his numbers.
But that could also be it too, right? I think Reynolds has primarily been a center fielder, which is, I guess, a position where he's not that good defensively. If he gets traded to the Yankees, I mean, if Judge isn't a Yankee, he would probably be in right. If not, he would probably be in left. 2 positions where I'd assume he might fare a little bit better. So I guess his WAR would go up. I don't know.
Okay, so I've got some numbers on Brian Reynolds. So he's in the 6th percentile of outs above average, so way down. And outfielder jump, he's in the 23rd percentile, so the bottom quarter of the league on StatCast. But everything,
and that's in center field, right?
That's in center field. So you're right, probably. If you shift him over to right field, it doesn't help his jumps very much, but it outs above average. Maybe he's moving from a big center field in Pittsburgh to a short center field or short right field at Yankee Stadium. Maybe he improves defensively. Yeah, I look at his hit chart though. He's got power. He hits the ball all over the ballpark.
I'm just kind of over it. Like, I just want to know what our fate is. You know what I mean? Like, it's being milked and like so long at this point because the Yankees aren't really able to do anything, and I don't think that they're gonna do anything. They're not gonna pivot to Plan B until they know about Judge. So it's like we're waiting on you, Judge.
Frankie Baseball says, "What if we traded the entire Yankees roster for the entire Astros roster?"
Excellent.
Make him the GM.
In all seriousness, would you do it?
No.
I would.
Dude. I would. Yeah, probably
in a heartbeat.
But the Astros wouldn't do it. I mean, they would never. Yeah,
Yeah.
David Valerio says he'd rather have Cedric Mullins. I've liked Cedric Mullins from what I've seen of him. Are you familiar with Cedric Mullins?
Didn't he suck last year?
I don't think he had a great year. I think, he might be one of those guys like who the trade rumors kind of mess with his head a little bit. I'm going to pull up his numbers on the season, but another left-handed hitter. He hit 258 with 16 home runs, 721 OPS, so not terrific. His exit velocity was slightly above league average, but, good speed, really good defender, but not much else. A little bit of pop.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really do anything for me.
5'8",
To be honest with you.
5'8", 175, like, kind of a smaller guy. I'm not thinking that he's going to be a huge.
But also, I mean, like if I'm looking at it like that, especially, I believe he had a really good season in 2021. Why would the Orioles even trade him now? You know what I mean? Like his value's probably at its all-time lowest.
Yeah, I think Benintendi's probably the safest bet just to bring him back, but I really want to see him go out and get pitching. I mean, Tommy Kahnle, I think, was an underrated move today. He looked good to me.
Yeah,
last
we didn't
year.
even talk about that.
Yeah, he's a changeup guy. And one thing that's interesting, how this relates to Aaron Judge, they brought back Rizzo, who's a good friend of Judge. Tommy Kahnle was apparently a really good friend of Judge as well. So, if the Yankees sign the Giants' best pitcher away, it's like, well, what options are you leaving for the Giants with Aaron Judge? It's like, is it just going to be him? Come join your friends in New York. Come on. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, like speaking of like the pitching thing, I kind of like differ from you in that sense. I don't really care about the Yankees adding, especially like elite pitching this offseason. Like the whole Carlos Rodon thing, I'm not moved by it in any way, just because it scares me in the sense of the Yankees clearly have like a glaring hole when it comes to their lineup, right? And it seems to be like their reason for being eliminated from the postseason just about every year. Their bats just don't do anything. And I'm scared that they're gonna go with that narrative that they throw out there sometimes to improve one aspect of their team by improving a different aspect, right? Like we saw it in 2019. They desperately needed pitching help, but they improved the offense instead, hoping that it would improve the pitching, take a little bit of a tax off of them. So this year, I really want them to just go after what needs to be improved, and that's the offense. Like, bro, don't go out there and get another top of the line starter when the rotation looks good. Right? Like as of right now, I'm confident in our rotation going into next season, but I'm not confident in the lineup. Go out there, spend some money on the lineup, and then I'll feel a little bit better, And then Rodon would be nice as like a bonus,
I still want Rodon, but I do agree with you. The offense needs some help. And we had a good question that says, what does the opening day roster look like without Judge? And this is where we can kind of, move some pieces around. I think one way that I would go, or I would at least consider going, is shift Giancarlo Stanton back to right field, sign that unbelievable contact hitting lefty Yoshida from Japan who can't play defense, make him your DH/right fielder, just kind of trade off with Stanton out there, and then go get a left fielder, whether it's Brian Reynolds or, Reynolds would be my preference at that point. And then second place would be Benintendi. But, you do that, find a way to improve at third base and maybe unload some of the contracts and get Rodon. I think that could be a pretty solid offseason.
Yeah, and I think that's why I kind of say that like it could get really fun if Judge leaves, just because I think that there's so many different directions the Yankees could go in that case.
Yeah, if Judge leaves, you're going to see a flurry of domino effect type moves.
But Derek, here's my thing, right? Like if Judge leaves, the Yankees have to make a lot of different moves in order to replace Judge. Do we trust them enough to do so? Right? Because they could easily go out there and they could pull off like a Correa, Bogarts, and Benintendi and Reynolds offseason. Or they could go out and do something like they did last year and get like Donaldson and IKF.
Yeah.
Like it could go either way, which kind of scares me because I don't know if I trust them enough.
Yeah, they're going to get Evan Longoria and, somebody who was good 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I really think that they've probably got some things lined up in case Judge leaves. Now, 9 years ago tonight was when Robinson Cano signed with the Mariners. That was a 10-year, $240 million contract. I think he got released 2 or 3 times this year, so the back end has not been very good. And he's a guy who, at that point, he was essentially the same age that Aaron Judge is. And we were all saying, don't give him 10 years. Don't give him 10 years. but he got 10 years. Do you think the judge, getting 10 years, like, do you even mind if he falls off a cliff in the last few years?
No, I honestly couldn't care less. Like, because here's the way I look at it, right? Like, do you plan your life with 10 years from now in your mind? No,
Well, when you
bro.
get to be 39 like me, yeah, I mean, you hope for 10 more
Do
years.
you? I mean, like, because I try to go day by day. You know what I mean? And if you're gonna sign Judge to a 10-year deal, and he's really good for 5 of those, and you win at least one World Series in the first 5 years of that contract, I can live with him falling off the face of the earth when he's 38 years old and a Yankee legend, coming off like 4 consecutive 50 home run years and a World Series trophy and a World Series MVP. I could live with it, but I think it all determines what he does in the beginning part of that contract.
Yeah. Bogart. Somebody mentioned Xander Bogaerts. He's still out there. If he'd be willing to play third base, he would be an awesome addition if Judge leaves. I mean, someplace you can spend some money. You hurt one of your main rivals, taking a good piece of offense. And Garrett Cole's ERA will go down by like 2 runs, just not having to face Xander Bogaerts all season. If you can figure out a way to get Devers, that would be amazing, but he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I like Bogarts. He's not like my number one favorite free agent on the market right now, but I wouldn't be upset by him,
Yeah, Stash Bro says, does it get worse than Donaldson? Dude, I just found Donaldson to be an abhorrent human being this year. Like, I called him the walking hemorrhoid. Just because, like, I don't know. One, his approach at the plate just bothered me. Just the humongous uppercut swing and falling off balance. And he'll take 2 strikes right down the middle and then take a humongous hack on like a slider down and away. It's like, what are you doing? And then he like starts pimping home runs that either get like off the top. He pimped 2 home runs that hit the top of the fence this year.
Yeah, it's annoying because also he's getting paid a lot of money, right? Like, I'm pretty sure him and Correa made a pretty similar amount last year. I don't know. That trade with the Twins last year is one that didn't make sense at the time. I was hoping, like, let's give it a chance this season and kind of like see if it makes sense. Let's see if like Cash God struck again. But no, that trade still doesn't make sense to me. Did you see what Gary Sanchez? The news with Gary Sanchez today? Can we talk about that for a second? His agent came out and said Gary apparently suffered like mental trauma or something, like during his time with the Yankees.
So did we. Every time I turned on the game, in the 8th inning, Gary was letting one go through his legs to the backstop. You want to talk about mental trauma? I've got mental trauma. I wake up in a cold sweat at least once a week thinking about a runner on third with Gary Sanchez behind the dish and Aroldis Chapman on the mound. I can't take that kind of pressure.
Who's caused you more mental trauma, Gary Sanchez or Joey Gallo?
Oh God. It's like saying, what was worse? Like, the Civil War or the Hiroshima bomb. Like, it's like thousands and thousands of fatalities. Look, Joey Gallo gave me clinical depression. Like, when I watched him, I lost my will to survive, that basic human instinct. It's like, please, just hit me with lightning, drop an anvil on me. I couldn't stand his at-bats. I started using his bats for bathroom breaks.
Derek, this is a little dark.
Yeah, well, he brought it out of me, man. It was rough. I can't even think about Joey Gallo anymore. He was so awful to watch. And I know you supported him for a long time, and then one day I turned on a video, and Pat was just like, I'm done.
Because it's like you can only defend a guy for so long until he starts making you look stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like going into 2022, Joey Gallo had a prime opportunity to just prove everyone wrong, and I really was hoping he would do so, just because he seemed like a nice guy too at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
He didn't. He made me look stupid. So
the Gary Sanchez non-tag against the Mets. Oh my God, do you remember that? Throw beat the runner by 15 feet, and he stood there like a dirt. This freaking guy slides in. I swear
to
God,
with Gary is like I could never really get like truly mad at him because he would always have like that puppy dog face, and I was like, oh, Gary, it's gonna be okay.
Oh man, it was rough. All right. It doesn't look like the Judge news is going to break tonight. Like there was a rumor that there was a private plane that he had chartered from
Oh,
Tampa.
dude, like, why are, like, people, like, stalking flights now? I
Right.
saw that on Twitter before. Like, bro, people are actually, like, clinically, you know how you said you had, like, clinical depression from Joey Gallo? Sometimes when I check Twitter, like, I think about, like, these people are clinically insane, some of them, bro. Like, do you ever think about what they do when they log off? They're like, yo, time to track this private flight from Tampa to San Diego that Judge may or may not be on. Like, what?
What if, what if Judge really was going to San Diego, but it was just like a coincidence? Like, what if he's going fishing off the coast of San Diego with some friends from high school, and like he's been out all day, and he comes back, he's like, oh, so I signed with the Giants. Awesome.
It's so weird at this point because it's like I feel like we can kind of like we need to expect anything. You know, it's like I feel like at any moment now we're gonna get a tweet be like Judge of the Giants, Judge of the Yankees, and I'm mentally prepared for it all. And I think that just proves how mentally strong we both are, Derek.
Well, hang in there. I feel like we got a long night ahead of us. This is one of those nights where, I generally go to sleep pretty early. I'm one of those people. I got to get my 8 hours in. But tonight I've got coffee brewing, and I'm gonna be essentially just up, just drinking the coffee, waiting for news to break. But if something happens, I will be back. I wanted to thank you, Pat, for joining me. It's first time in a while that you've been on.
Before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I need a prediction from you.
What's that?
A Judge prediction. Give me where he's going and when it's happening.
I've recently changed. I think there is some smoke. I think it's going to be 9 years, $395 million from the San Francisco Giants.
Ooh. When?
I think it's going to happen tonight.
Whoa, Derek!
But
right,
it's just a guess. What the? I'm wrong so often that it's almost supernatural. Okay.
Nah,
like,
we're it's Derek Stradamus.
Yeah. Nostradamus.
I got Judge tomorrow afternoon at 3:28 p.m. Eastern time. He's gonna sign a 10-year, $403 million contract with the New York Yankees. Book it.
We'll see. All right, everybody. Appreciate it. One more round of applause from Mr. Pat Henessy. I'm pulling up the final refresh of the Twitter feed. Nothing happening, so we're going to call it a night. Pat, have a happy holiday season, and I'll see you on your Aaron Judge rant video.
I love you all.
Ball game over.